हमेशा के लिए दफन हो जाएगा और जिंदा रहेगा सिर्फ मेरा झूठ। मुझे फौरन यहाँ से निकल के ऐश्वर्या मैम का पीछा करना होगा, वरना मैं सच तक नहीं पहुंच पाऊंगी।
चलो पंडित जी वेट करता हूँ और वो पेपर्स चेक के बाद हमारी नई जिंदगी शुरू होने वाली है। वो भी आते होंगे।
गणपति बप्पा, 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 गणपति बप्पा। हेलो, हाँ मन्नत जी, कहाँ रह गई आप? वो आपके पापा भी आ गए, कब से कॉल कर रहा था आपको, आरती शुरू हो गई। हाँ कहाँ है आप? निकले ना अभी घर से?
मैं भी यही हूँ, यहाँ पर भी पूजा चल रही है ना, तो मुझे मौका ही नहीं मिला निकलने का।
और वो ऐश्वर्या राय सिंह
वो निकल चुकी है, उन्हें काफी देर हो गई। प्लीज प्लीज मदद कीजिए।
हेलो,
हाँ डॉली, क्या? सॉरी यार, सॉरी तेरा कॉल नहीं देखा। क्या तुम आधा घंटे से इंतजार कर रही है मेरा? आई एम सो सॉरी, सो सॉरी। वो एक्चुअली घर में पूजा चल रही है ना। अच्छा मैं बस 15 मिनट में आई। हाँ 15 मिनट में आई। हाँ चल बाय। वो एक्चुअली हर साल जब मैं वही पूजा करती हूँ ना, तो इस बार भी मैं करूंगी ना, इसलिए सारे के सारे मेरा इंतजार कर रहे हैं। पूजा रोक के रखी है। मैं होके आती हूँ। हाँ जल्दी से आ जाओ।
मुझे से कोई सच मारी।
आप प्लीज समझने की कोशिश कीजिए ना, प्लीज प्लीज। मैं ना फटाक से आ जाऊंगी। यू गए और ये माइक पक्का।
ठीक है, जाओ।
सॉरी पापा, मुझे झूठ का सहारा लेना पड़ा, पर सच तक पहुंचने का और कोई रास्ता ही नहीं था।
मैं हूँ। अपना ये काम जल्दी खत्म करके तो मेरे पास वापस आ जाऊंगी।
आप ही के पास तो होगी, कहाँ जाऊंगी? मैं जल्दी आती हूँ। कुछ काम था तो बस अभी आ जाऊंगी जल्दी से। हाँ
तो चलो, मैं भी किसी काम से जा रहा हूँ, मैं तुम्हें छोड़ दूंगा।
नहीं नहीं, मैं चली जाऊंगी ना। आप क्यों परेशान हो रहे हैं? मैं चौल की तरफ जा रही हूँ।
परेशानी वाली कौन सी बात है? मेरे रास्ते में है, चलो आप, मैं छोड़ दूँ।
ओह नो, मैं टाइम पे नहीं पहुंच पाऊंगी। क्या पता अनिरुद्ध सक्सेना सच बोल रहे हो, क्या पता ऐश्वर्या सच में उन्हें नुकसान पहुंचाने जेल गई हूँ।
इतना क्या सोच रही हो? चलो आ जाओ, चलो कम चले।
हमेशा के लिए खत्म हो जाएगी अनिरुद्ध। कहाँ गया अनिरुद्ध? अभी तो यही था। बस यही रुक दीजिए।
यहाँ पे?
हाँ बस मेरा पास में, मैं अभी चली जाऊंगी। ओके, थैंक यू।
आराम से।
हाँ।
यहाँ तो कोई भी नहीं है।
देखो कौन आया है तुमसे मिलने। तुम्हारी दुआ। अब बच के कहाँ जाओगे?
बहुत पछताओगे तुम सोनिया।
कमाल है यार, मौत तुम्हारे सामने खड़ी है, फिर भी तेवर वैसे के वैसे। मगर अनिरुद्ध, भगवान ने तुम्हारी सुन लिया, मुझे भेज दिया तुम्हें मुक्ति दिलाने के लिए। मैंने तुमसे कहा था ना अनिरुद्ध, जो इंसान एक बार हारता है वो बार बार हारता है। You're a loser, अनिरुद्ध। अब देखो, उस दिन तो तुम बच गए, मगर आज नहीं बच पाओगे। कोई नहीं आने वाला तुम्हें बचाने के लिए। कोई नहीं आने वाला तुम्हें बचाने। तुम्हारी प्यारी बेटी मन्नत भी नहीं। जिस बेटी के प्यार के लिए तुम तरस गए और मुझे बर्बाद करने चले आए। क्या सोचा था तुमने? मेरे खिलाफ उसे सबूत दिखाओगे, मेरे बने बनाए प्लान पे पानी फेर दोगे? कैसे सोच लेते हो तुम ऐसा अनिरुद्ध? तुम भूल गए अपनी सोनिया को। तुम्हें क्या लगा सोनिया तुम्हें जीतने देगी? हाँ, ऐश्वर्या राय सिंह कभी नहीं हारती। ऐश्वर्या राय सिंह को भगवान भी नहीं हरा सकता। आज तुम मरोगे अनिरुद्ध, और तुम्हारे साथ साथ तुम्हारा सच भी हमेशा के लिए दफन हो जाएगा, और जिंदा रहेगा सिर्फ मेरा झूठ। दुनिया की नजरों में तुम मेरे गुनहगार रहोगे, एक गुंडा जिसने मेरी इज्जत के साथ खिलवाड़ किया और जेल में बाकी कैदियों के साथ चाकू की लड़ाई में मारा गया। और मैं यहाँ से आराम से निकल जाऊंगी। न मैं किसी की नजर में आऊंगी, न मेरा सच किसी की नजरों में आएगा। किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा कि मैंने तुम्हें चोरी के झूठे इल्जाम में फंसाया, तुमसे तुम्हारी बेटी का सच छिपाया। और तुम्हें पता है, एक बार मैं तुम्हें जन्नत पहुंचा दूं, उसके बाद मैं तुम्हारी बेटी को भी बर्बाद कर दूंगी। तुम और तुम्हारी वो बिन मांगी मन्नत।
दोनों की तबाही मेरे हाथ लिखी है।
आपकी मदर का लीवर ट्रांसप्लांट करना होगा। उनकी कंडीशन काफी सीरियस है।
मैंने सोचा मैं तो बेटी हूँ, मेरा लिवर मैच हो जाएगा। पहली बार जिंदगी में मैच नहीं हुआ। लेकिन उस रात मेरी जिंदगी का सबसे बड़ा राज मेरे सामने आके खड़ा हो गया। मैंने उसे जल्दी दिखा दी, उसके बाद आसी 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 मुझे जन्म दे सगी माँ सोनिया सोनिया सोनिया। तो पता चला जन्म देने वाली माँ क्या कुछ नहीं किया इन्होंने मेरे साथ, क्या कुछ नहीं किया। हाथ जोड़ेंगे मेरी प्रतिभा की जान बचा लो, मेरी प्रतिभा की जान बचा लो। तो इन्होंने बदले में मुझसे मेरा प्यार छीन लिया।
साइन तब करूंगी जब तुम विक्रांत के साथ अपने सारे रिश्ते तोड़कर उसका दिल तोड़ोगी।
मैं सोचती रही क्यों एक माँ अपने बच्चे के साथ ऐसे कैसे कर सकती है। एक माँ अपने बच्चे के साथ सोचते नहीं पागल की तरह। ये सामने थी, मेरी आंखों के सामने थी, एक माँ के सामने उसका बच्चा था। और इन्हें तरस नहीं आया, इन्हें प्यार नहीं आया, इनकी आंखों में तो नफरत नहीं करी थी। मैंने कहा क्यों क्यों इतनी नफरत। उस नफरत की वजह ढूंढती रही मैं, ढूंढती रही और मुझे पता है इन्होंने क्या इनके साथ हुआ है। अपने भाई वजह से सालों पहले मेरे साथ मेरा दिल टूट गया, मेरा दिल टूट गया। मुझे तसल्ली होती रही की वजह है ना, नफरत की वजह है। ये दुनिया मुझे नाम देती रही पर मुझे तसल्ली हुई। ये दुनिया ने मुझे पाप का खून करा और मुझे तसल्ली हुई। मुझे तकलीफ होती रही, मुझे बहुत तकलीफ हुई, पता है बहुत तकलीफ, पर मुझे तसल्ली होती रही क्योंकि आपकी नफरत मैंने स्वीकार कर ली थी। अरे कैसे जब इंसान से प्यार होगा, जो इस पाप से जन्मा है, कैसे उससे प्यार होगा। मैं जानती थी ना, मैं जानती थी, मैं नहीं तकलीफ जानती थी, मैं जानती थी वो शालिनी ना शालिनी मेरी जगह से। मैंने देखा है उसको इस तकलीफ से गुजरते हुए, मैंने देखा है। मुझे तभी समझ जाना चाहिए था कि ये औरत जब शालिनी के साथ सच में जोर जबरदस्ती हुई थी इन्होंने उसका दर्द नहीं समझा, ये उसके साथ नहीं खड़ी रही। अरे क्योंकि ये वो है ना, ऐश्वर्या राय सिंह और सोनिया खन्ना, जिसका दिल पत्थर का है, जिसे किसी का दर्द समझ भी नहीं आता, किसी की तकलीफ दिखाई नहीं देती। ये झूठे आंसू से बेवकूफ बना दिया मेरा। अरे नहीं, मैं बेवकूफ एक्चुअली, मैं बेवकूफ पता क्यों? अरे मैं बेवकूफ पता क्यों? क्योंकि तभी तो रिश्तों में ऐसे टांगे जाती हूँ ना मैं। मुझे बेवकूफ इसलिए बना पाई क्योंकि वो बेसुमानी में ना मेरी इज्जत बचाई थी वो गुंडों से।
ऐश्वर्या नहीं, इसकी माँ इन्हें बचाने।
अरे मेरी आंखों के सामने अपनी जान को खतरे में डाला था। वो क्या था? अरे मल्लिका के खिलाफ जाके खड़ी हो गई।
ये सब मल्लिका ने कहा। विक्रांत को पता चलेगा तो उसको जेल भेज देगा। मुझे एक मौका दो, बस एक मौका दो।
मल्लिका के लिए किया ना ये सब? मुझसे कहा, मैंने कहा सच नहीं बताना बेटा किसी को। नहीं बताने के लिए किया ये सब है ना? अरे क्या बेवकूफ बनाया है मेरा। मुझसे कहती रही मेरी एक ही बेटी है, मेरी एक ही बेटी है। अरे तुम मेरी परवाह क्यों कर रही है? मैं तो अपनी फिल्मांगी मन्नत हूँ। क्या बेवकूफ बनाया।
दर्शन करने गई है लाल बाग।
मारने के बाद मैं तुम्हारी बेटी को भी जन्नत पहुंचाऊंगी।
Human brain stands out as this extraordinary machine capable of comprehending everything from the smallest subatomic particles to the grandest cosmic structures. But here's the thing, even with all its processing power, our brains weren't exactly designed for today's information overload. We're constantly bombarded with new facts, figures and concepts, and it can all feel a bit like trying to drink from a fire hose, but don't worry, there's hope. Just like we've used science to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos, we can use it to understand and optimize our own learning processes. Over the next few chapters, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating world of cognitive science, exploring proven techniques and strategies to help you unlock your brain's full learning potential. We're talking about learning faster, remembering longer, and actually enjoying the ride along the way. Whether you're a student facing a mountain of textbooks, a professional looking to stay ahead of the curve, or simply a curious mind eager to expand your horizons, this video is for you. So buckle up, get ready to fire up those neurons, and let's embark on this exciting journey to supercharge your learning abilities. Okay, so before we launch into specific techniques, let's take a moment to appreciate the incredible machine we're working with, the human brain. This 3-pound marvel is the most complex structure in the known universe. A tangled web of billions of neurons connected by trillions of synapses. It's constantly buzzing with electrical and chemical activity, processing information and forming memories. Now, when it comes to learning, your brain has two main modes of operation: short-term memory and long-term memory. Think of short-term memory like your brain's RAM. It holds the information you're actively using right now, like the phone number you just looked up or the main points of the paragraph you're reading. But just like your computer's RAM clears when you turn it off, short-term memory fades quickly unless it's transferred to long-term storage. Long-term memory, on the other hand, is like your brain's hard drive. It's where we store information for the long haul, from childhood memories to the quadratic formula to the lyrics of your favorite song. The key to learning effectively is to get information out of that temporary short-term memory and into the long-term memory bank where it can be accessed and used later on. So how do we bridge the gap between these two memory systems? That's where things get really interesting. You see, our brains aren't just passive recording devices. They're active learning machines. They thrive on engagement, on making connections, on being challenged. The more actively we engage with information, the more likely it is to stick around in long-term memory. In the next few chapters, we'll explore specific techniques to harness your brain's natural learning power. We'll talk about active learning strategies, the power of spaced repetition, and how to create the optimal environment for your brain to thrive. Stay tuned, because things are about to get really exciting. All right, let's talk about active learning. Now, I'm not talking about just passively rereading your notes or highlighting every other sentence in a textbook. That's about as effective as trying to learn astrophysics by staring blankly at the night sky. We need to engage those brain cells, get them firing on all cylinders. Active learning is all about interacting with the material, wrestling with it, and making it your own. Instead of just absorbing information, you're actively processing it, analyzing it, and applying it. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to learn a new dance move. You could watch someone else do it 100 times, but until you get up and try it yourself, stumble a bit, figure out how to move your body, it's not really going to stick, right? So, what are some effective active learning techniques? Well, one powerful method is summarization. After reading a chapter or attending a lecture, take a few minutes to summarize the key points in your own words. This forces you to synthesize the information, identify the most important concepts, and put them into a framework that makes sense to you. Another effective technique is teaching. That's right, teaching. When you teach something to someone else, you're forced to organize your thoughts, clarify your understanding, and anticipate questions. Plus, there's nothing quite like the pressure of explaining something to someone else to expose any gaps in your own knowledge. Don't forget about the power of questioning. As you're learning, actively ask yourself questions about the material. What's the main idea here? How does this concept relate to what I already know? Can I think of a real-world example? Asking questions forces you to engage with the material on a deeper level, making it more likely to stick. And finally, don't just learn in theory, apply what you're learning. Find ways to use the information in real-world scenarios, whether it's solving practice problems, working on a project, or even just explaining the concept to a friend. The more you can apply your knowledge, the stronger those neural connections will become. Let's talk about spaced repetition, a learning technique that's as close as we get to a magic bullet for long-term retention. You see, our brains are designed to forget. It sounds counterintuitive, but forgetting is actually an essential part of learning. Think about it. Your brain is constantly bombarded with information, and it wouldn't be very efficient to remember every single detail, like what you had for breakfast 3 Tuesdays ago. Spaced repetition takes advantage of this natural forgetting process. Instead of cramming information into your brain all at once and hoping for the best, you space out your review sessions over increasing intervals. Here's how it works. Let's say you learn a new concept today. You review it again tomorrow, then a few days later, then a week later, then a month later, and so on. Each time you revisit the material, you're strengthening the neural pathways associated with that information, making it less likely to fade away. The beauty of spaced repetition is that it's incredibly effective and surprisingly easy to implement. You can use traditional methods like flashcards, or you can leverage the power of technology with spaced repetition software and apps. These tools automate the process, scheduling your reviews at optimal intervals based on your individual learning curve. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Neil, this sounds great, but I'm already juggling a million things. Who has time for all this spaced repetition business? Trust me, I get it. But here's the thing, spaced repetition actually saves you time in the long run. By reviewing material strategically, you're reducing the amount of time you spend relearning information you've already forgotten. Plus, the sense of mastery and confidence you gain from effortlessly recalling information weeks or even months after you've learned it, that's priceless. So, ditch the cramming, embrace the power of spaced repetition, and watch your long-term retention soar. Let's face it, our brains have limits. Trying to cram a massive amount of information into your head all at once is like trying to stuff a giant telescope into a thimble. it's not going to end well. That's where chunking comes in. Chunking is a powerful technique that involves breaking down large, complex pieces of information into smaller, more manageable units or chunks that your brain can easily process and remember. Think of it like this. Remember those old rotary phones with all those individual digits? Trying to remember a 10-digit phone number all at once was a recipe for disaster. But break that number down into smaller chunks, the area code, the prefix, and the line number, and suddenly it becomes much more manageable. The same principle applies to learning anything new. Whether you're tackling a complex scientific theory, memorizing a long poem, or mastering a new language, chunking can help you overcome cognitive overload and make the learning process feel less daunting. So how do you chunk information effectively? Well, it starts with identifying natural breaking points in the material. For example, if you're studying history, you might chunk information by significant events, key figures, or distinct time periods. If you're learning a new language, you might chunk vocabulary words by theme, grammar rules by concept, or even sentences by grammatical structure. Once you've identified the chunks, find ways to make them meaningful and memorable. You can use acronyms, rhymes, or even create vivid mental images to help cement those chunks in your mind. The key is to find what works best for you and your learning style. Remember, our brains are wired to seek out patterns and connections. Chunking helps us impose order on seemingly chaotic information, making it easier to process, store, and recall later on. So the next time you're facing a mountain of information, don't panic. Just break it down into bite-sized chunks and conquer it one piece at a time. All right, let's talk about retrieval practice, a learning technique that's all about flexing those memory muscles. You see, simply reading or reviewing material isn't enough to ensure long-term retention. It's like going to the gym, lifting a weight once, and expecting to wake up with bulging biceps the next day. It just doesn't work that way. To build strength, you need to challenge your muscles repeatedly. The same goes for your memory. Retrieval practice involves actively recalling information from memory without simply rereading it. It's like giving your brain a workout, forcing it to search for and retrieve information stored in those neural pathways. Now, the beauty of retrieval practice is that it's incredibly versatile and can be implemented in countless ways. One classic method is using flashcards. Write a question or key term on one side of the card and the answer or definition on the other. Then test yourself by trying to recall the information before flipping the card over. But retrieval practice goes beyond flashcards. You can test yourself after reading a chapter, take practice quizzes, summarize key concepts from memory, or even teach the material to someone else. Remember that teaching technique we talked about earlier? It's a fantastic form of retrieval practice. And here's a little secret: the more effortful the retrieval, the more effective it is. If you can recall information easily, that's great. But if you struggle a bit, that's actually a good sign. It means you're forcing your brain to work harder, strengthening those neural connections and making the information more likely to stick for the long haul. So ditch the passive rereading and embrace the power of retrieval practice. Challenge yourself, test yourself, and watch your memory transform from a leaky bucket into a steel trap. Let's face it, our brains are wired to seek out patterns and make connections. It's how we make sense of the world around us, from recognizing familiar faces to understanding complex scientific concepts. And when it comes to learning, this innate ability to connect the dots is pure gold. You see, our brains don't store information in isolation, like files neatly organized in separate folders on a computer. Instead, they weave a rich tapestry of knowledge, connecting new information to existing networks of understanding. Think of it like building a giant web of knowledge. Each new piece of information becomes a node, connected to countless other nodes through a network of associations. So how do we leverage this powerful principle to enhance our learning? It's simple. Actively seek out connections between new information and what you already know. Ask yourself, how does this new concept relate to something I've learned before? Can I draw any parallels or analogies? Can I visualize this information fitting into my existing mental framework? For example, let's say you're learning about the concept of gravity in physics. You could simply memorize the formulas and definitions, or you could connect it to your existing knowledge of how objects fall to the ground, how planets orbit the sun, or even how the tides ebb and flow. Suddenly, gravity becomes more than just an abstract concept. it becomes a fundamental force that shapes our universe. The more connections you can make, the stronger those neural networks become, and the easier it is to remember and recall information later on. It's like building a mental scaffolding, providing a solid foundation for new knowledge to stick to. So the next time you're grappling with a new concept, don't just try to memorize it in isolation. Instead, put on your detective hat, channel your inner Sherlock Holmes, and start searching for those hidden connections. You'll be amazed at how much more easily the information sticks when you can relate it to something you already understand.
All right, let's talk about setting the stage for optimal learning. Now, you wouldn't try to observe a distant galaxy from Times Square, right? The light pollution would make it nearly impossible. Similarly, your learning environment and mindset can make or break your ability to focus, process information, and retain knowledge. First things first, minimize distractions. I know, easier said than done in our hyper-connected world, but trust me, your brain can't multitask effectively. Every notification, every ping, every stray thought about your to-do list is like a tiny meteor shower disrupting your concentration. Find a quiet space where you can focus, silence your phone, close those extra browser tabs, and let your brain do its thing. If you need some background noise, try instrumental music or white noise, something that blocks out distractions without demanding your attention. Now let's talk about mindset. Learning should be an adventure, a journey of discovery, not a chore. Approach it with curiosity, with a sense of wonder, with the same excitement you'd feel embarking on a mission to explore a new planet. Set realistic goals. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a steel-trap memory. Break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, and celebrate your progress along the way. And remember, learning isn't a linear process. You'll have good days and bad days, moments of brilliance and moments of frustration. That's okay. Be kind to yourself, embrace the journey, and remember that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your learning goals.
Let's face it, our brains are high-performance machines. They're constantly firing neurons, processing information and forming memories. And just like any high-performance machine, they need the right fuel and maintenance to function at their best. First and foremost, prioritize sleep. I know I sound like a broken record, but I can't emphasize this enough. Sleep is like a nightly reset button for your brain, allowing it to consolidate memories, clear out toxins, and recharge for the day ahead. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. Trust me, your brain will thank you for it. Next up, feed your brain. Just like your body needs nutritious food to thrive, so does your brain. Focus on a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein. And don't forget about those brain-boosting omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds. Now let's get physical. Regular exercise isn't just good for your body, it's a turbocharger for your brain. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients while whisking away waste products. It also stimulates the growth of new brain cells and strengthens connections between neurons. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days of the week. And finally, don't underestimate the power of relaxation and stress management. Chronic stress is like kryptonite to your brain, impairing memory, focus, and overall cognitive function. Find healthy ways to manage stress, whether it's through meditation, yoga, spending time in nature, listening to music, or pursuing hobbies you enjoy. Remember, a healthy brain is a happy brain, and a happy brain is a learning machine. So, treat your brain with the care and respect it deserves, and watch your cognitive abilities soar. All right, let's talk about engaging your senses. You see, our brains aren't limited to just one way of learning. We're multisensory beings, and we learn best when we engage multiple senses simultaneously. Think about it. What's more memorable? Reading a dry description of a supernova explosion or watching a stunning animation of it while listening to a captivating narration. The more senses you engage, the richer the learning experience and the more likely the information is to stick. It's like creating a multi-dimensional map in your mind, with each sense contributing a unique layer of detail. So, How do you put multisensory learning into practice? Well, let's say you're trying to learn a new language. Don't just rely on reading textbooks and listening to audio recordings. Watch movies and TV shows in the target language. Immerse yourself in the culture and try cooking a traditional dish while following a recipe in the language you're learning. If you're a visual learner, use mind maps, diagrams, and other visual aids to represent information. If you're an auditory learner, record yourself reading notes aloud or find podcasts and audiobooks on the topic you're studying. If you're a kinesthetic learner, try incorporating movement into your learning by pacing while you recite information or using flashcards while walking. The possibilities are endless. The key is to experiment. Find what works best for you and don't be afraid to get creative. Remember, learning should be an engaging, immersive experience, not a passive exercise in information absorption. So fire up those senses and watch your learning come alive. All right, let's talk about the importance of reflection and review. You see, learning isn't just about stuffing your brain with information. It's about making sense of it, internalizing it, and integrating it into your existing web of knowledge. And that's where reflection comes in. Think of reflection as the digestive process of learning. Just like your body needs time to digest food and absorb nutrients, your brain needs time to process information, make connections, and solidify learning. At the end of each study session, take a few minutes to reflect on what you've learned. Ask yourself, what were the key takeaways? What resonated with me? What areas are still unclear? Jot down your thoughts in a journal. Create a mind map, or simply talk it through with a study buddy. Regular review is equally important. It's not enough to learn something once and expect it to stick forever. Remember the forgetting curve we talked about earlier? To combat that natural forgetting process, we need to revisit information regularly, strengthening those neural pathways and solidifying our understanding. Schedule regular review sessions into your study plan using techniques like spaced repetition to optimize your recall. Don't just passively reread your notes, actively test yourself, summarize key concepts from memory, or try explaining the material to someone else. Remember, learning is a journey, not a destination. It's an ongoing process of exploration, reflection, and refinement. So, embrace the journey, make time for reflection, and watch your knowledge grow deeper and more meaningful over time. Finally, let's talk about the most important ingredient for unlocking your brain's full learning potential: curiosity. You see, learning shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be an adventure, a journey of discovery fueled by an insatiable thirst for knowledge. Think back to when you were a child. The world was a magical place filled with endless possibilities. You asked questions about everything. You explored with reckless abandon, and you were eager to learn everything you could about everything and anything. Somewhere along the way, for many of us, that natural curiosity got buried under a mountain of textbooks, deadlines, and the pressure to succeed. But here's the thing. Curiosity is a muscle, and like any muscle, it can be strengthened with regular exercise. So, how do we rekindle that childhood sense of wonder? It starts with embracing a growth mindset. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, view them as opportunities for growth and learning. Embrace the unknown, ask questions, and never stop exploring. Seek out learning opportunities that excite you, whether it's diving deep into a fascinating book, attending a lecture by a renowned expert, or simply engaging in thought-provoking conversations with friends and colleagues. Remember, learning isn't just about acquiring knowledge. It's about expanding your horizons, challenging your assumptions, and becoming a more well-rounded, engaged, and interesting human being. So, stay curious, my friends, and never stop exploring the wonders of the universe, both within and beyond your own mind. As we conclude this cosmic journey through the incredible landscape of the human brain, remember this: your capacity for learning is limitless. Just like the universe itself, your brain is constantly expanding, evolving, and forming new connections. Learning faster and remembering longer isn't about possessing some innate talent or superhuman ability. It's about understanding how your brain works, adopting effective learning strategies, and creating the optimal conditions for your mind to thrive. So, embrace the power of active learning, leverage the magic of spaced repetition, nourish your brain with healthy habits, and never ever lose that spark of curiosity. Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep learning, and I promise you, your journey will be filled with endless possibilities. Keep those neurons firing, and I'll see you in the next video.